If you all join us, please stand. Cody, if you'd like to let the video roll as Councilor Hoyt comes to the podium, you can. Start us off.
Eternal God, our Father, we thank you this day. God, we ask now, Lord, that you guide our thoughts, our minds, our spirits, as we dispense our duties as elected officials and department heads of this city. And we ask that you guide us in our decisions. And God, we ask that you bless Birmingham, Lord. We know that there are many things that are disturbing as we look at around us. Pandemic, the rising and crime, and God, we know that you are still in control of it all. And so, God, I ask that you bring peace to Birmingham and that you restore the things that beset us, Lord, and we'll be quick to give you the praise, the glory, and the honor. We ask that you bless this council and that you bless this mayor. And God, we thank you and we give you praise this morning. Let us all say, amen.
Amen.
Salute the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, if you'll entertain the roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Councilmember Abbott.
Present.
Councilmember Hilliard.
Present.
Councilmember Hoyt.
Present.
Councilmember O'Quinn.
Good morning.
Good morning. Councilmember Smitherman.
Good morning.
Good morning. Councilmember Williams.
Good morning.
Good morning. Councilmember Woods. President Pro Tem Alexander.
Present.
And Council President Parker.
All right, thank you very much. The minutes are not ready for May 4th, 2021 through August 31st, 2021. Do we have any communication from the mayor? Okay, at this time we do not. Do we have any announcements of boards and agencies, Madam Clerk?
Yes, ma'am, we do. On the Park and Recreation Board, we have Ronald Mitchell. His term will expire October 8th, 2021, and it's a 4-year term. This falls under the Park and Recreation Committee. Next, we have the Birmingham Parking Authority, Kevin Owens. His term expires October 31st of this year. It's a 4-year term, and it falls under the Transportation Committee. We have the Birmingham Planning Commission. We have several members whose terms are expiring. Dr. Catherine Dornbos, whose term expires October 6th. Michael R. Morrison, his term expires October 6th. Councilor Abbott, her term as an ex officio member, her term expires October 26th. Councilor Hoyt, who's also an ex officio member's term expires October 26th. These appointments fall under the Planning and Zoning Committee. And on the Zoning Board of Adjustments, we have the resignation of Stanley Turner, who is a state licensed real estate salesperson. And this also falls under the Planning and Zoning Committee. And these are all of the expirations that we currently have.
All right, thank you very much. And we will move those vacancies to the appropriate committees that are listed. At this time, councilors, I would like to entertain a motion to suspend the rules and allow for presentations. We do have a presentation for the Alabama Heat Track Club. It has some youth as part of that presentation? Because can we entertain a motion for a resolution presentation to them?
Second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you very much. At this time, we have members of the Alabama Heat Track Club. They'll come forward. Well, we thank you all very much, and these are members of the Alabama Heat Track Club. They recently ended the 2021 track season with several All-Americans and national champions. The United States of America Track and Field Junior Olympics and Amateur Athletic Union. This track meets were held in Florida and in Texas with the top track and field athletes from across the United States. So if I can have them to come up and join me. And we would love to present this resolution on behalf of our legislative body and the councilors that are present. This particular track club was created to develop athletes for participation in local, regional, national, and international competitions in track and field across country and long-distance running. Their mission is to foster sustained competitive excellence, promote responsibility, hard work, sportsmanship, and teamwork under the direction of an experienced and dedicated coaching staff. These team members achieved all national status, and they were also involved in the community. Several outreach projects, including a Thanksgiving box giveaway, Greater Birmingham Ministries, and provided meals for the homeless. Whereas Coach Jeffrey Jackson, along with Coach Katrina Wright, Coach Jalera Newton, skill trainers, mentors, and parents, they've all played a very vital role in the outstanding success of the Alabama Track Club. And all of these outstanding athletes are winners and superior athletes in their own rights. So if you would join me in presenting to them and congratulating them on their accomplishments today. I'm going to give our young members, let's look at them. We've got some future Olympians here with us, and I'm sure they'll be joining track meets for their high school and junior high and elementary. So I want to thank you all. My dad was a track coach, so I never did run, but he would have loved if I had. So I really appreciate what you all are doing. Coach, if we'll let you come, we're going to let them talk, and then I'll get the counselors to speak. So, Coach, if you would come and introduce your players and let them tell us what grades they're in and just give us more information.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
I'm Coach Jeff Jackson, and first we have Ryan.
Hey, can we let them introduce them? Let them introduce
Okay,
themselves
cool,
and
Ryan.
tell us what school they're from.
Tell us your name and what grade.
Second, Ryan.
All right, Ryan.
All right.
Zaria Jackson, 6th grade. Braylon Lacey, 3rd grade. Purpose Henderson, 4th grade. Caleb Newton, 3rd grade. Ross Christie, 6th grade.
Gideon Newton, 6th grade.
Hayden Yerby, I just started college.
Well, again, we're very excited to have them here. And I did mention all of their accomplishments, but again, they are winners in their own rights. So, counselors, if you all would like to say anything to this talented athletic group of young people.
Well, Counselor, I like to say there's some beautiful kids, and I'm so excited and happy for them. I didn't get what school they went to. That was it. They're from all over the city. Oh, fantastic. Well, we're so glad to have all of these future Olympians here, and I want to say congratulations. And wow, you got on so many medals. I want one. Wow, congratulations to each and every one of you.
Thank you very much. Any other counselors? Counselor Hoyt.
Yeah. Well, and Counselor, here, you know you do have to earn them. You just don't get them. But maybe you and I have a track meet or something with a wheelchair. But I just want to say to these young people, thank you for allowing the coach to coach you. I want to thank your parents for making you available. So because, track, like football, like baseball, it really teaches us to work together. You have to have partnership. There are individual sports, but there's also individual, collective. You run track and all that. So I really appreciate that. It's one of my favorite, Olympic things that I watch. That and tennis is my favorite. But I love track and field. And matter of fact, you can make a lot of money because Miss Biles is worth about $10 million. I just want you all to know that as a gymnast. But certainly, these folk you can market yourselves, and it's just wonderful. And Coach, thank you for instilling in these young people. And I think it's going to make a difference. And we really need to support this kind of stuff. And so thank you, Councilor Pro Tem Alexander, for bringing them to us so that we have an opportunity to see what our young people are doing. And I'm just going to see how many television stations run up to these young folk here, because we need to celebrate that.
I'm in total agreement. And again, we are also, I would be remiss if I know we've got a lot of people in the audience taking pictures. So these are parents, grandparents. We want to thank you for supporting your children and allowing them this opportunity. We know that sports is a motivator. It helps critical thinking, problem solving. And so I'm just excited to see each of these youth present with us today. Anyone else have any comments? Well, thank you all very much.
Move for unanimous consent.
And we'll move for unanimous consent to the resolution.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, now the item.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you all very much.
All of them held on to their medals for that one kid.
He's on the lid here.
We love that opportunity to hear that noise, don't we? All right, at this time, we'd like to have consideration of the consent agenda, and I'd like to ask any counselors if you have any items that you would like to pull or add to the consent.
Counselor, you want me to read them first?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that, Madam Clerk?
Okay, yes, ma'am. We're going to start on page 3, item 6. Then we're going over to page 4, items 8, 9, and 10. Page 5, items 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. On page 6, items 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. On page 7, items 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. On page 8, items 26, 27, 28, and 29. And on page 9, items 30, 31, and 32. And that completes the consent agenda.
All right, and we'll just go around. Any counselors have any items they'd like to pull from consent?
Yes.
Counselor Hoyt.
Yes, item 6, please.
All right. It's item 6 on page 3. Any others? Counselor Smitherman?
I'm good. Thank you.
Counselor Abbott?
So I'd like to add item 5 to consent on page, what page is this? 3.
3. Yes. Everyone okay with that? All right. Counselor O'Quinn? You good? Counselor Williams?
I'm good. I think is the best thing, Attorney King, to pull one up and then explain the
Right, yes.
explain the new date. Okay.
To place the new date, right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All items designated as consent are routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will be permitted unless a counselor, the mayor, or citizen interested in a public hearing so requests. If so, such items will revert to the normal place on the agenda order of business. All matters of permanent operation that are indicated with the P will be read. All other matters will be announced by reading the item's number only. All public hearings will be announced.
Motion to approve.
Second.
This time we'll entertain the vote.
The vote has started. Councilor O'Quinn. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Councilor Williams.
I'm a yes. I don't have.
He's looking for his iPad.
Someone stole it. Boy, are you voting for me?
So what?
That vote is up.
All right, so those
I would
consent
always
items
vote for you.
pass. Now we'll call up the first item.
The first item, item number 1, is a public show cause hearing to consider the matter of revoking the business license issued to Blue Chip Hotels Assets Group Birmingham East LLC, doing business as USA Economy Lodge at 7941 Crestwood Boulevard, Birmingham, Alabama 35210. The hearing will be held via Cisco WebEx, and participants in the hearing will need to follow the link provided on this agenda or use the call-in information provided. This link will also be available for public participation even if the council meets in the council chambers, and that number is 415-655-0002, and then enter the access code 146-689-2719 and hit pound twice.
Motion.
I move approval.
Second.
All right. So, Madam Attorney, do you want to explain
Right.
what's going on, or do you want me to?
Well, I would just say
This
that
might be a nicer explanation.
I will just say that due to notice requirements, you all should have received a substituted resolution, and Ms. Dees can read that out, but we're asking for this to be delayed until September 21st.
Okay. Unfortunately,
Ms. Dees, are you going to read it? You don't have to.
I don't have the resolution.
Oh, okay, that's
in
fine.
hand.
Well, I just want to be sure that we get this sent out this time. I'm very, very, very disappointed that the ball was dropped. This specific location has garnered over 255 calls for service over the past year and continues to be a nuisance for the neighborhood. And I respectfully ask the clerk's office to please send out the notice that is required to have this meeting, as we continue to have calls there, overdoses, and everything else.
Okay, I need a motion to defer the item.
So moved.
Second.
And then I also want to ask the administration, are y'all going to be able to have BPD hand deliver these so we don't have this same option?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The vote has started. Councilor Smitherman. Okay, that vote is up.
All right, thank you. That deferment is approved.
Okay, the next item is item number 2. An ordinance to further amend the zoning district map of the city of Birmingham, case number ZAC 2020-00012, to change zone district boundaries from CB1 Contingency Neighborhood Business District to QC2 Qualified General Commercial District, filed by Majid H. Alamari for the property located at 4700 Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard North and situated in the northeast quarter of Section 20, Township 17 South, Range 2 West, and this is the hearing of all interested parties.
Motion.
Second.
At this time, Ms. Thomas will come up and present the case to us.
Good morning. Katrina Thomas. I serve as Interim Deputy Director in the Department of Planning, Engineering, and Permits. Item number 2 is case ZAC 2021, case number 12. This is an application to change zone district boundaries from CB1, which is Contingency Neighborhood Business District, to C2 General Commercial District. This application was filed by Majid Alamari for property located at 4700 Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard North. The subject property sits on approximately 1 acre of land on the south side of Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard North. The property does have an existing building, which is a little over 14,000 square feet, and the building has 3 units, 2 of which are vacant commercial retail spaces, and the third space is proposed for an event center. North of the property is North Alabama Fabricating Zone QB3. To the west and south of the property is property zone R3 Single Family District. To the east of the site is Bright Lily Baptist Church, which is zone CB1. The applicant is proposing to convert 1 unit of the existing building into a private event center. The existing building which is a little over 14,000 square feet. The applicant is proposing a commercial space to host events, weddings, and other celebratory occasions. The facility will also include open space for tables and chairs and a kitchen to hold food brought in by a third party. We'll have a changing room, restroom facilities, etc. The hours of operation will be 8 a.m. to 12 a.m., and this space will be used for private events only. The applicant does plan to rent the other 2 spaces out as commercial or retail spaces. The city's long-range land use plan identifies the property as mixed-use low. Event centers are not allowed in the mixed-use low district. Therefore, the proposed rezoning is not consistent with the land use plan. The site plan shows the building to be divided into 3 uses. The applicant does meet the parking requirement for the proposed event center. However, when those additional tenant spaces are built out, the applicant will need to either show additional parking or request a parking modification from the Zoning Board of Adjustment or a parking agreement through the Zoning Board of Adjustment as well. An event center is only permitted in the C2 district as a special exception. Therefore, if the property is rezoned today, the applicant will need to apply for a special exception with the Zoning Board of Adjustment prior to the start of operation. Additionally, the applicant is within 200 feet of a residential zone. Therefore, per the zoning ordinance, the hours of operation must be limited to 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. The Birmingham Department of Transportation reviewed the site plan and stated that while no new construction was planned, if the rezoning is approved, they would like to encourage some ADA and sidewalk improvements in front of the property. There are no major concerns regarding landscaping. Any alterations to the exterior would need to comply with the landscaping requirements. The Kingston Neighborhood Association met on June 28th of this year. They voted to approve this request with the following Q conditions, and their vote was 8-0. The Q conditions included closing time to be no later than 1 a.m. and no alcohol to be served on the property. The applicant stated that the neighborhood stated that they supported the rezoning for the following reasons: that the applicant was willing to comply with the neighborhood request and his promise to work with the association. The property is located in the Eastern Area Framework Plan area. This plan has not been adopted, therefore there is not an implementation committee in place. The staff felt that the request is not consistent with the land use plan and does not recommend approval. However, the Zoning Advisory Committee met on July 20th and they voted to recommend approval with the following Q condition: that no alcohol be served on premises. The Planning and Zoning Committee met on July 21st and they voted to send the case to the full council with no recommendation. I would also like to add that the Q condition was slightly modified to clarify the alcohol, and so the Q condition now reads no alcohol to be sold on premises, so that will prevent a liquor license from being obtained, but someone could bring and serve wine or champagne if they wanted to. That completes the report. The applicant's representative is here to answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you. If we could get the applicant to come up, and then we'll entertain any questions from the council.
Madam President, before Ms. Thomas leaves, the change to the Q condition, does that mean that there will never be any alcohol used at this location, or that there will simply not be any sold?
The way it reads now is that it will not be any sold. That
and who
condition
made
will have
that
to be-
change?
That was just a clarity in terms, and just in communicating with the Office of the City Attorney, and also clarifying with the Neighborhood Association what they meant by served versus sold. And so it's very challenging to regulate if something is provided for free. And so that condition was changed to be consistent with what we actually can control, which is issuance of a liquor license to sell alcohol.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And if the applicants, would you state your name and address and just tell us what you're going to do with this event center?
Abdul Amari, 1150 252nd Street South, Birmingham.
And you said it's an event center. What are your plans for the use? Just give us a little more information.
I've been in this neighborhood for the last 28 years. I have 3 businesses in this neighborhood. And I saw this building is vacant. It's been vacant for a while. And I know what the neighborhood needs. They haven't, a lot of times they have a lot of repass, and they didn't have no place at this neighborhood to have their, a place together like that, small wedding, repass and stuff, and this is how they come up with this idea. And I bought this building, and we remodeled the whole building, and I went to the neighborhood meeting, and it was approved, and they want to use it in their monthly meeting, which is I didn't have a problem. And I was asked if I need to apply for an alcohol license, and I tell them not at that time, and if I need to, I'll go back to the neighborhood.
Thank you. Are there any questions by the councilors?
Yeah.
Mr. Hoyt?
Yeah, Madam President, I'm a little perplexed because most of these event centers can, in terms, rent it out, and to say you can have alcohol on the premises, but you cannot sell, really impedes their ability to make money aside from just having the event center. And quite frankly, I haven't seen many event centers where they didn't have this ability to do that. And I'm just wondering why this gentleman here is being asked not to sell alcohol if they have an event there. Sometimes they have a cash bar. You have a wedding, you have a cash bar, and then people get a chance to save money because then they don't have to provide. You can have it for the libations, and I understand not having an off-premise license for an event center, but certainly if they're inside and they're contained, why would they even suggest this? I mean, this is the most asinine asking that I've seen since I've been here, and I've been here a long time, 16 years. But you're gonna have them to open up an event center and then not them to sell alcohol. What event center does that in City of Birmingham? Not one that I've been in, and I don't know what we're gonna do, but that I'm not gonna vote for that because it doesn't make sense to me, and we should not be doing that to this gentleman or anybody else, for that matter. And we all have been to weddings and events where they have a cash bar, and that saves the person who's renting the place. That saves them money, So that's just how I feel about it.
Thank you, Mr. Hoyt. And I guess my question will be, and we'll let the applicant speak further, but I just wanted to clarify, these queue conditions, Ms. Thomas, that were put in by the neighborhood as a means of approving this, and at first it said served, and then what's the timeline that it came back and said sold, or just clarification on wording?
That was put on following the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting. There was a lot of discussion about served versus sold, and we received clarity from the Office of the City Attorney. And then also we followed back up with the Neighborhood Association to confirm what they were intending to do, and that their intention was to prevent any alcohol from being sold. They were okay with a wedding party, perhaps bringing wine or champagne to provide to their guests complimentary, but they wanted the condition added for the no alcohol to be sold. So that did come from the Neighborhood Association, and then the Zoning Advisory Committee recommended carrying on that condition as well.
Okay. I know Mrs. Abbott had a question, and sir, you had stepped up. Did you want to just clarify something?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
And your name and address?
My name is Eldridge Knighton. I live at 916 45th Street North. I am the president over in Morrell Todd Homes Public Housing of the Resident Council. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Abdul. I work closely with Mr. Abdul. I can truly, honestly stand here before the city council and say when it comes to things that I needed in the community for the kids or whatever I need, he's been right there 100% with giving back to the community. And he owns King's Food, and I'm asking that it be voted and passed for him because Kingston, it's time for a change. And if you go up and down 10th Avenue, I'm not a part of the Neighborhood Association. I have attended meetings. I tried to run for vice president. I still plan on running. But I thank the Neighborhood Association for voting on his behalf and passing. But I'm here for my resident council on behalf of his support to say I'm going to stand strong with him, and whatever I can do to support him, I'm going to be right there with him because he has been there for me and my residents in public housing from day one. And I couldn't ask for nobody else in the neighborhood than Abdul when it comes to those children. We just did a back to school. He helped out with that. We did a Stop the Violence, March Through the Community. He helped out with that. So he's all about Kingston. So I just want to let y'all know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Abbott, you had indicated you had a question.
Yeah, I really don't have a question. I just wanted to comment that because this came through the council's Planning and Zoning Committee, I didn't vote for it because it is not allowed. Event centers are not allowed in mixed-use low, and that is the city's long-range plan for this property. So my personal policy is not to vote against our own long-range land use plan. And I just wanted to say that in case someone missed that paragraph in the description of this case. And if the neighborhood is willing to agree to this with no alcohol being sold, then I was sad to hear anybody say that the neighborhood was asinine because their request is the way they feel about what is going on in their own neighborhood. And they have that right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilors? Councilor Smithman, Councilor Quinn. Councilor Quinn.
On the future land use plan, I'm just kind of perplexed, why this doesn't fit. I mean, there's the Holiday Inn, like 3 blocks down. There's a trucking stop, like across the street. There's all sorts of businesses up and down this area of Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard. I'm just perplexed. I mean, why doesn't this fit?
Yeah, so Councilor Quinn, good question. There's certainly a mixture of uses in the area. And so when we did the land use plan for this area, our goal was to see this area move to a more mixed use low designation because of its proximity to the residential that's still nearby. And so over time, this area could transition to that. But in terms of compatibility of uses, it is surrounded by other commercial office type uses. So it's not that an event center would just be completely inconsistent with the surrounding land uses. It's just that the proposed designation to C2 doesn't fit the land use plan for the area.
Okay.
So we're just staying consistent with what the land use plan states, but it wouldn't necessarily be out of character since you're dealing with an existing structure.
All right, I could comment further, but I'll reserve my remarks.
Thank you, Councilor. But Mr. Hoyt, before you go, I'm going to allow the other two councilors. Do you have any questions or comments? All right, thank you, Mr. Hoyt. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, for me, it's asinine because I've seen this same community give liquor license to
folk, and I mean, they inundated with liquor places. And I've been here long enough to know that, and to know these neighborhoods and how they respond to certain businesses and what have you. If they give them a Happy Meal or something, and then they change their whole dynamics. And so I stand by what I say. People may not like it, but I do stand by that. And it's not, because what I'm saying is a neighborhood that is schizophrenic from the standpoint, you apply rules here, but then you don't apply them there. Be consistent. And the one thing that I have been consistent in what I do. Okay, as an elected official, I've tried to do that. Been few occasions where I've broken loose. I mean, Hunter might have got me to vote with him or something. But anyway, that happens occasionally. But I do think that the fact that you've got these mixed uses already exist in this community, then what is an event center going to do to change the trajectory of that community? Nothing. And I think if we got anybody want to develop on 10th Avenue, I think it's on 10th Avenue? 10th Avenue, you need to. And I know that community very well. I work for the Housing Authority, so I know, and I've eaten over there over the years. Even when they, and I think Councilor Abbott was there when we did the reopening of the Holiday Inn there. So, but I just believe you don't impede these people's ability at this juncture, because I've seen other iterations where we've not done that, and I just don't know. You saying, I'm gonna build you a house, but you can't use the front door, but you can go to the back. That's what you got here.
Thank you, Mr. Hood.
All right.
And I do believe, sir, the applicant did want to say something prior.
Yes, ma'am. The alcohol issue, it's something that I didn't ask for the neighborhood. Otherwise, this building has a grocery store for years that they do serve alcohol. So I wasn't refused not to have alcohol. It's just I didn't ask for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't allow me if I go back to them. I just want to mention.
But you're fine with the queue conditions and what was asked of the
Yes,
neighborhood
ma'am.
asking? Okay. And the only other thing I want to ask, what are the other two businesses? You said you have two more businesses
I have
that
a
would be
grocery
commercial?
store. Yes,
that would
ma'am.
be with this
I have
project.
a grocery store down the street from it, 2 blocks down, and a small convenience store from the other side. Whole 10th Avenue, it's mostly commercials. You got Holiday Inn, you got a trucking company, you got a 2 service station, you got a grocery store, you got a deli, restaurants. I mean, it's all commercials. And I thought for me doing this, I mean, not change the whole building. I mean, we spent over $500,000 to do this, to make, the neighborhood, better service and looks, better.
Thank you, and we'll have one last comment from you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. As Abdul stated, up and down 10th Avenue, he owns King's Food. For those who are familiar with Kingston, the old Sweet Dad's, the rooter to the tutor, he owns that. Now he just got the old Dixie up and down Tiffany. I grew up in Kingston. We're run down, and it's good to have people there. And you got Watson Trucking Company, you got Jerry's, the gas station, then you got the Holiday Inn, you got 2 shelves hit right there. We really don't have anything over there, especially like an event center. We have one gym that covers the whole Kingston neighborhood, and that sits in Morel Todd. So if somebody wanted to do something, host an event or something, they would have to come over there, and that's if housing would allow it. But we don't have anything, and it's time for Kingston to grow. It's long overdue. So I'm here to support. It's long overdue. It's time for a change.
Thank you, sir. And I know you were here with the applicant. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak for the neighborhood, or anyone else want to speak to this item? If not, we'll go ahead and call for the vote.
The vote is started.
So what are we doing here, Madam President? Because I'm confused.
Yes, sir. We're voting on the item as presented with the queue conditions.
And to vote without the queue conditions, can we have 2? Because I would want to order, enter a second motion, if I could, before you take this motion here. Is that okay?
Let me ask the attorney, how do we do that?
We could do it.
I'm sure we
We've done
can.
it
You
before.
know we can.
I'll have Attorney Bernard come and answer that. I just saw her.
Yeah, I would want to offer a second substitute motion.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, Julie, but let me take my headphones off because I'm echoing in my ears. Julie Bernard with the Office of City Attorney. I guess I need some clarification exactly what the question is.
Well, we are entertaining a vote for the item that has presented to us that has certain queue conditions. And so Mr. Hoyt just wanted to offer another motion, substitute motion.
I think that's a parliamentary question, Madam Clerk.
Okay, because I didn't know if there was any legality involved with the fact that the queue conditions.
I think from my understanding, you can make a motion. However, the motion that you want to do, you want to adopt the ordinance without the queue conditions, but that would mean having to republish, re-advertise, because what was published in the paper and what was set up was this current ordinance that includes the queue conditions. So you basically would be changing the entire ordinance by removing the queue condition, and that would mean having to go through the process again, because then we have to advertise that we now have a hearing on an item and the queue condition is not there. So,
and we already have a vote that's on the floor, correct?
That would mean setting a new public hearing, because essentially that's what you would be doing, is setting, saying I've got a different ordinance and therefore we've got to set a new hearing and advertise it without the queue conditions. So right now, the only thing, unfortunately, unless you want to just vote, you either vote aye to include the queue conditions, or you can vote no because you disagree with the queue conditions, or you can abstain.
And that legally, that is correct. If you change it, I wasn't clear what was being asked. And the question about what to do in the middle of the vote's a parliamentary question. But yes, the legal question is, if the ordinance is changed at this point in the course of its passage, it will have to be re-advertised and come back for another hearing.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. Can we go ahead with the vote?
Okay. Councilor Smitherman.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The item passes.
Okay.
All it correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Next item, please.
The next item is item number.
Thank you, sir.
Is item number 3. An ordinance adopting the proposed amendment to Title I, Chapter 7, Section 14 of the City of Birmingham zoning ordinance filed by the Department of Planning, Engineering, and Permits and the hearing of all interested parties. This is case number ZAC 2021-00014. You need a motion.
Motion for the item. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we'll call up this item.
Good morning again. Katrina Thomas. I serve as Interim Deputy Director in the Department of Planning, Engineering, and Permits. This item is a change to the zoning ordinance in Title I, Chapter 7, Section 14. These are the sign regulations. The amendment does one thing. It just adds the word structurally to the non-conforming sign section. This word is included in the legal non-conforming uses and structure section of the zoning ordinance and was inadvertently left out of the new sign regulations that were adopted in December of 2020. And so that is the only change that is being requested today. At its regularly scheduled meeting on July 20th, the Zoning Advisory Committee voted to recommend approval of this ordinance change, and at its regularly scheduled meeting on July 21st, the Planning and Zoning Committee also voted to recommend approval. In your packet, there should be deletions and insertions and So the only change, again, is just adding the word structurally in front of nonconforming signs. It's section 14, a nonconform change and modification. It will now read, a nonconforming sign or sign structure must conform with this ordinance if it is structurally altered, reconstructed, replaced, expanded, or relocated. A mere change in the copy is not an alteration or replacement for the purposes of this subsection. So again, it's only adding that one word, which is structurally. That's the only change.
Thank you very much. If any councilors have any questions?
I have a question, and I don't know who this goes to, but what is the process when you have a non-conforming structural sign? What is the process of passing that or enforcing that the business owner goes? Because my understanding is that it should go to the neighborhood, and then what's the process of that?
Yeah, so an existing non-conforming sign can stay in place, just like all non-conforming uses is grandfathered in. So as long as they don't change anything structurally related to the sign, then they can continue. But as long as it's in place and it continues to operate, then it can continue to operate. If there were a change structurally, then it will have to go through a review process. It will be in violation of this, and so it will have to be subject to all new regulations.
So how do we enforce that currently?
So our zoning inspectors are charged with enforcing the sign ordinance, and so if there's a specific location that you believe they went away from this ordinance, then we can investigate.
Yeah, so for example, on Montclair Road, and I forget the name of the storage facility, they had a small sign that the neighborhood approved. The storage facility was resold, and all of a sudden they have a 12-foot tall pillar out in front of it that is very obnoxious looking, that is not in conforming use. And I go to all of the neighborhood meetings over there, and it never came before the neighborhood. So my question is, how, I guess it's reporting that we have to, it would be reporting for this. I guess part of my question is, how are they allowed to pull a license from PEP to do something that is obnoxious against the neighborhood and non-conforming when we have ordinances that prevent those things from happening?
So prior to the adoption of the new sign regulations in December 2020, they may have been allowed to construct that type of sign. So we will have to do some additional research to check the timing of it.
Okay.
More than likely, it may have been permitted before this ordinance was adopted, and so what they have may be consistent with the previous regulations, which will make that sign legal non-conforming and grandfathered in. So it just depends on when they actually pulled the permit, not necessarily constructed it, but when they requested a sign permit.
Okay, and then from an enforcement standpoint, how can we enforce that? Do we file litigation against them, or how can we enforce that?
Yeah, if we determine that they erected the sign either without a permit or it was not in conformance with the permit application, then it will go through our normal zoning enforcement process, which would include notifying the owner, and then eventually, if the owner does not conform or comply with the ordinance, they can either ask for a variance or remove the sign. If they don't do that, then it could end up in municipal court. For that location, again, I will need to research, because it may be likely that they applied for the permit before the sign regulations changed.
Okay, and then, so, thank you very much.
Welcome.
And then, so who do I send that to? You guys? All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Williams, for asking for that clarification, and I know other councilors may have a question as well. We have something similar to that on the Lakeshore area, where a business, they pull out a huge billboard and sign only on the weekends. Seems to be a rolling sign that moves around on Lakeshore Parkway, depending upon weather and things like that. It's for a car wash. So I'll just be asking Chief Sparks, how does that come under that ordinance when you have something like that? It's a large billboard that moves around. They seem to relocate it.
I'm sorry,
That's okay. I was just going to say I wanted to piggyback on what Councilor Williams had said and just find the direction we take, because we have something similar where we have a large sign that moves up and down on Lakeshore, and the business seems to move it to try to attract customers, and I wasn't sure if it was within this ordinance, so we'll just send that to you.
Okay. Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much. I think some other councilors had questions. Councilor O'Quinn.
Yeah, so my question is specifically about the sign on the top of the 2 North 20th building. That sign was originally designed to function in one way, but the property owner has abandoned that, and now it's basically a billboard, a giant billboard. And so I am curious as to how this one-word change impacts that sign specifically. It hasn't been structurally altered, to the best of my knowledge, but it would seem to me that if you add this word saying that it has to be structurally altered, then that sign may create a loophole for that particular sign to remain in compliance. That would be my concern.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the Office of the City Attorney maybe to address that.
Yes, thank you, President Pro Tem. So, Councilor O'Quinn, we would have to go into executive session because this has to do with potential litigation, if you would like the further explanation. There is pending litigation.
What would you like?
I'm interested in it. Is there a way, would y'all be comfortable we got a written update so we didn't have to?
Can you do that?
Okay?
Yes, please.
Can you send it to all of us? Because, you know, complaints come to people whose district it's not in, and that sign is a bone of contention. And for me, all billboards are, because all they do is litter up our city and make it look ugly. And just having one on top of a building just adds insult to injury. So I'd like to know, too.
Thank you. Councilor Smitherman or Hoyt, did you all have any other comments or questions about this item?
Councilor Williams did such an excellent job.
All right, then I don't know if anyone else is here to speak to the item since it was a one-word change or a written change to the ordinance. We'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Wait.
Yes, sir.
So is this for the delay, or what is the issue?
Yes, I'd like to make a substitute motion that we delay this for however long it needs to, so that we can get information
So your
about
delay is relative to
these
getting the
particular
information.
issues.
Oh, well, if you want to do that, then I'm cool with going to executive session. I thought that maybe just an update, but yeah, if we need to go into executive session, I'm cool with that. Because I also, like Councilwoman Abbott, have gotten a plethora of complaints about that specific billboard, even though I don't even know if I've been in the building.
Yeah, so I move for executive session.
Second.
So in accordance with Section 3625A-7, it is our recommendation that we go into executive session.
All right, at this time.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Okay, so we'll go into executive session and we will recess and return in about, I think, 15 minutes.
So the conference room directly across from us is still being used for absentee voting. Are y'all using D&E right now for everybody, for other department heads that are in here?
We can go into D&E.
They're going to evacuate real quick.
Okay. Thank you. We'll return back to session once we complete executive session. Thank you. Okay, we have a quorum. Kimberly, are we ready to restart? We'll take a vote. Okay, I was looking for you back there. At this time, let it be known there was no action taken during the executive session, so if we could have entertain a vote to bring us back in.
First, we need to do roll call.
Thank you.
Councilor Abbott. Councilor Hilliard. Councilor Hoyt.
Present.
Councilor O'Quinn.
Present.
Councilor Smithman.
Here.
Councilor Williams.
Present.
Councilor Woods. Council President Parker. And President Pro Tem Alexander.
Here.
Okay, now we go back to...
Now we'll go back to regular session. Do we have to take a vote to go back into session, or we good?
No,
you
ma'am,
call roll
we're
call?
good.
All right, thank you. Again, at that time, we did not take any action during the executive session, so we still have item 3 before us, and I believe we're ready to call for a vote on that item.
Okay, the voting has started. Vote should be up.
Thank you. That item passes. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Okay, the next item is item number 4 on page. Item number 4 on page 3. An ordinance approving and authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement for radio tower between the city and Summit Media LLC, under which the city will continue to lease to Summit Media a portion of the Crossplex site for use as the site of the WAGG radio tower and related facilities for a term of 10 years at a monthly rental of $1,375 for the first year, with the rent to increase by $25 per month during each additional year, which lease will be subject to renewal by mutual consent of the parties for up to 3 additional terms of 5 years each, as specified in the lease. And this item has been requested to be deferred by the mayor's office, deferred for 2 weeks by the mayor's office. I need a motion.
Second.
Right, and the vote has started. Councilor Hilliard.
Aye.
All right, that item passes for deferment for 2 weeks. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Okay, let me put Councilor Hilliard back in. All right, the next item is also on page 3, item number 6. An ordinance to further amend the general fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022 by transferring $400,000 from planning, engineering, and permits, consulting fees, and appropriating $400,000 to non-departmental transfer to Fund 102 Capital Improvement, and to further amend the capital fund budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022 by appropriating $400,000 to DCP Consulting for capital projects.
Move approval.
Second.
All right, thank you. This time, Councilor Hoyt, I believe you moved that, pulled that.
But Mr. Mitchell has efficiently debriefed me on this item, so I'm inclined to go for it.
All right. Are there any questions about the item?
Councilor Hoyt, could you share your knowledge with us?
I could do so. No, he was saying that they would move this to a line item so that those projects that, for instance, the fire department, the libraries, and all, if they continue to have issues. And so what he's trying to do is put this money where it can be used as needed for these projects, so that we don't stop, that she can convene whoever she needs to do to address these issues. Did I do okay, Chad?
But it's for consulting.
Yeah,
Correct.
it's
It's a
right.
facility assessment consulting, yes. And the project will span over different fiscal years, so this will help with just having the fund set up in a project instead of the operating fund where they're lapsed. So that's the reason behind it.
Right.
I have a
Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. My question is, when we were discussing the ARP funding, there was talk about hiring an outside consultant for capital projects. Is that what this is?
This is for current projects. So
okay, so this would be separate from
yes, because those will be new projects.
Okay, and then what's the process for hiring the consultant?
It's basically a negotiation tactic that the Department of Capital Projects is working on with different vendors.
Is that something that's going to come back to us?
It just depends on who she selects. Yes, because anything over $10,000 has to come before the council.
Okay, but it's going to be one consultant for all of these collectively, all of these capital projects.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I'm glad you asked that question because it was a clarification whether this was ARP or this is current existing.
This is current general fund operating funds.
Any other questions from councilors?
Look, I failed in my explanation, so.
You did a great job, Mr. Hoyt. Thank you. All right, I believe this time we're ready for the vote, madam.
The vote is started.
Okay, that item passes. Next item.
Okay, the next item is on page 4, is item number 7. An ordinance assenting to the annexation of territory contiguous to the corporate limits of the city of Birmingham pursuant to sections 11-42-23, 11-42-24 of the Code of Alabama 1975, so as to embrace and include within the corporate area of the city certain territory described in the petition of Abby Greystone LLC, consisting of an approximately 1.16 acre tract of land located on Cahaba Valley Road in unincorporated Shelby County. This is an item of permanent operation, and this is the first reading, so we need unanimous consent.
Motion for UC.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Move the item.
Second.
Okay. Right now we have the item before us. Is there any discussion of presenting this item for us? Ms. Thomas, you're back.
Good morning. Katrina Thomas, Service Interim Deputy Director for PP. This item is an ordinance assenting to the annexation of territory contiguous to the corporate limits of the city of Birmingham pursuant to sections 114220 through 114224 of the Code of Alabama 1975 as to embrace and include within the corporate area of the city certain territory described in the petition of Abby Greystone LLC consisting of approximately 1.16 acre tract of land located on Cahaba Valley Road in unincorporated Shelby County. Capstone Properties is requesting the annexation of 2 properties that are located on Cahaba Valley Road, which is on Highway 119 in unincorporated Shelby County, and adjoining the Overton neighborhood in the city of Birmingham. The site also abuts the city of Hoover and the nearby Greystone subdivision. The site is within proximity to the St. Vincent's 119 Medical Campus and the Tattersall Park retail development. It is the intent of Capstone to resurvey the parcels with the goal of developing 189-unit rental development comprised of individual cottages and townhomes. On June 1st, 2021, the Birmingham City Council approved the rezoning of this property, which was a pre-zoning of these parcels from B2 and Holden Zone District in Shelby County to D5 multiple family housing. As part of this process, the applicant is required to have the parcels annexed into the city of Birmingham. Once annexed, the parcels will then be zoned D5. The Planning and Zoning Committee voted on July 7, 2021 to approve the item. On July 27, the Administrative Committee voted to also approve the item. The parcels will be annexed into the city of Birmingham through 6 separate applications. Each application is for a portion of the subject property, which will extend no further than halfway toward the boundary of the property with the city of Hoover in compliance with the Code of Alabama. Each application will be scheduled and heard separately until all of the property is within the corporate boundary of the city. On August 10th, the Birmingham City Council approved the first of the 6 annexation petitions, and on August 17th, the second was approved. August 24th, the third was approved. August 31st, the council approved the fourth of the 6 annexation petitions, and on today, this is the 5th of 6 annexation petitions. The Planning, Engineering, and Permits Department, in coordination with the Office of the City Attorney and the Office of the City Clerk, will establish and has established a process in which the annexation will be documented, recorded, and published in order to have this item brought before the City Council for consideration. So again, this is petition number 5 for approval. That's it. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I know that we have the applicant here.
Y'all ready to vote? Applicants had to come like...
How many times?
This is only like the 9th time here.
We know him well now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are we ready to call for a vote? Any questions by council?
I would love to understand why we are having to go through this mess. What was the legislature trying to cure that would cause this to happen? Because this is ridiculous.
Well, this part of the process is necessary because it's in Shelby County as opposed to Jefferson. The legislature did cure this issue for annexations in Jefferson County. There's a statute that applies only to Jefferson County so that you don't worry about whether there's another city that's close to the property you want to annex. But in all other counties in the state, if a property lies within the extraterritorial jurisdiction of 2 cities, then one city can only annex halfway to the other city. And then so you got to go halfway at a time. You never can get there all the way, you know. So, and since this property's in Shelby County, not in Jefferson, where that problem has been remedied. In Jefferson County, you don't have to do that. You can annex from Birmingham right up to the next city if you want to. But in other counties, you can't. And so we're having to go through this step-by-step process.
Well, thank you for that explanation, because this just seems insane.
It's yeah.
And I'm sure they were trying to, cure some kind of problem they thought they had, but all they've done is created a bunch of problems for everybody else, and this just seems goofy. But thank you for explaining it. We just need to stay away from Shelby County.
Well, we appreciate
annex everything in Jefferson.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll be glad to have this in Shelby. I think it'll be well worth the efforts.
I was just kidding.
I know.
It's just burdensome and sort of crazy. Okay, thank you. I just had to ask.
Thank you, Attorney Beavers. We ready for the call for the vote? We'll call for the vote now. Thank you so much for that explanation.
Thank you.
The voting has started.
All right, item
Councilor
number...
Hilliard.
And Hilliard. Mr. Hilliard, you going to vote on this one?
Guess not.
Going to vote on this item? Okay, it passes. Okay, thank you. Item number 7 passes. Thank you.
Okay. And the only item we have left is item number 33, and it's on page 31. It's receiving the emergency repair notice from the purchasing agent relative to the replacement of air handler unit number 2 in City Hall, and there's no vote needed on that item.
No addendums.
No addendums?
Parker's not here.
All right, so we move to old and new business. And I do know that we did have one person that wanted to speak to us and address us. Do I have a suspension of the rules to allow?
I move for suspension of the rules.
All right, thank you.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. We did have a gentleman that wanted to come up and address an item which we have passed, but he did just want to speak to us regarding item number 28. And if you state your name and address, sir.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Edward Smith. I'm the owner of Municipal and Commercial Uniform.
We can't hear you. You may have to move your mask.
I am the owner of Municipal and Commercial Uniform, 2208 3rd Avenue North.
And you have 3 minutes.
Okay. I would like to contest the bid being awarded uniform contract 21-47. First of all, I do not think it was open in the spirit of the law, bid law. Your contract was open, it was read aloud, then specifications were changed, specifications were sent out, asked for pricing in an unsealed manner, and they were not publicly read. 2, you're awarding it to a vendor whose hour of operations do not meet your bid requirements. Your bid requirements are 8 to 5. They're open from 9 to 5. That last contract that they had from 8 to 5, they changed their hours to 9 to 5. So they broke the contract, their last contract back then. We are in a strong competitive role against them. We are a local-owned business here in Birmingham. Since the first of the year, this contract calls for alterations to be done within 7 days. Since the first of the year, we have done over $8,200 in alterations to individual Birmingham police officers who cannot get their alterations done in a timely manner, which is paid for in this contract from the other vendor. Fourth thing that I wanted to bring up is we have done your Birmingham Police Department uniforms from 1990 to 2015. The Class A uniform has not changed. All of a sudden, your new specifications call for ISO certification from the vendor we're buying from. I do not have a vendor that is ISO certified. In any other contract in the city of Birmingham or within the state of Alabama that I know of, there is no uniform contract that is calling for an ISO certified vendor. So this was put in to this last specification when they decided that they wanted to change the specifications. And I've been in this business 49 years, council people. I don't understand how this bid is being awarded. First of all, I believe it's against the spirit of the bid law. The bid law says bids should be open and read publicly. This was not done.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate your consideration. I wish someone would look into this.
Thank you.
So,
Madam President, should we have a reconsideration of our consent agenda? Because I would like an investigation. What we're being told here is it says meeting specifications, and it sounds like there's a possibility that the bidder that we're approving in item 28 is not meeting specifications, and I would just like an investigation of what this gentleman is telling us before we approve it, especially since this outfit is in Lexington, Kentucky, and he's here. And I know that we do have a preference for people who actually are doing business in the city of Birmingham. So I would like to move for reconsideration of the consent agenda.
second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Now, I would like to remove item 28 from consent and delay it for how long will it take the administration to do an investigation?
1 week.
1 week?
Councilor Abbott, can we readopt the consent
I'm
agenda?
sorry. I'm just focused on this issue.
I understand.
Motion to readopt the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Now we'll go to item.
And now item 28 is before us. And so your motion is for a...
Yeah, my
1 week?
motion is for a 1-week delay for investigation of the allegations that have been made. And certainly the certification part fascinates me, because if it's not something we actually desperately need, why are we doing it?
So on that, Councilwoman Abbott, and really the administration, are we sure that we could get this done in 7 days?
Yes.
You think 1 week is good enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Because just as an aside, I have used this gentleman's outfit for over 10 years, probably 15 now. I'm getting older than I think. I've used him for a long time. He's gone out of his way to make sure that every single department that uses him, and especially individual officers and deputies, have what they need. And if there's anything that needs to get done, he bears the cost so that the individual officer, or some of the times, I don't know about all the times, he bears the cost to make sure that that officer or deputy, especially when they get out of the academy, has what they need. And so as someone who is personally familiar with your company, I think that what you do for public safety and for the personnel in all of Jefferson County is appreciated, so thank you.
Well, and Madam President, I'm fascinated by the fact that we're paying for alterations in the contract, but he's having to do the alterations because the guy in Kentucky obviously has a little issue, probably with distance.
Yeah, it's hard to get sized over the internet.
Yeah, that's real hard. I'm having trouble finding alterations people, period. So,
Ms. Abbott,
I just am interested in...
They have a service center here in the city of Birmingham.
But they must not be getting the work done because you're doing it. So I just see that as a problem for the city. And not only am I worried about the city's interests, but obviously we want to be fair. So I think this is interesting.
So we have a motion and a second for a 1 week delay.
Yes, ma'am. Before we do it, can I read the item?
Yes, please.
Okay. A resolution accepting and approving the bid of Gauls LLC, Lexington, Kentucky, for police uniforms and related accessories, groups 1 and 2, as needed at the unit prices on file in the office of the purchasing agent for a period of 1 year, guaranteed with the option of renewal, contingent upon council approval for the City of Birmingham Police Department, this being the lowest, most responsive bid submitted, meeting specifications. And the second on the motion to defer
was me, but
okay.
Would you be comfortable sending this to public safety?
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Because I don't see how we're going to solve this in a week.
Yeah.
So I'd like to make a substitute, or Mrs. Abbott, if you'd like to move that, just send it to
2
public
weeks,
safety.
or just send it to public?
Send it to
Okay.
next public
Well, then
safety.
I'm changing my motion to refer it to committee.
Second.
All right. And the vote has
For your time
started.
and consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Before you leave, sir, can I get a card from you? Let me.
We continue with the vote.
Councilor Hoyt. And Councilor Hilliard, is he?
Councilor Hill, you're going to vote on this item? That item passes.
Okay.
Thank you for the referral to the Public Safety Committee. Thank you. I believe we also had another individual in the audience who wanted to speak to some issues that are actually, Ms. Minor, did you want to come up and speak? Ms. Minor is a resident of the Roosevelt City neighborhood, and she wanted to come here and speak with representatives of the mayor's office regarding some overgrown lots and some flooding concerns. And these have been reported, and she spoke with the District 7 office, but she wanted to have this opportunity to address the administration. Thank you, ma'am. And you state your name, Ms. Minor, and your address.
Good morning. My name is Jean Minor, and I live at 5036 Juanita Circle, Birmingham, Alabama, 35228. My purpose this morning is to bring before you a problem of flooding on Juanita Circle. I came to you on March the 20th of 2019. I was here in June 5th of 2019, and I'm here again today. I am back because the problem has not been addressed. I have written the mayor and council persons of the prior administration. I have written the mayor, my council representative of this administration. I've also written Commissioner Sheila Tyson. All say that something is going to be done, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with the federal funds that's been received. I need help immediately. As a matter of fact, I needed help on yesterday. This flooding problem has been studied. It was studied during the Arrington administration. Funds was allocated for the Roosevelt City area, but nothing was done for the Cairo area. The Army Corps of Engineers came out and did a study, and my late husband and I had decided to move, but when he went back to a meeting, all to be told that the funds had run out. And I still have the problem each time it rains of being on pins, afraid that the bottom part of my home is going to flood. The effects of the flooding, it washes away the soil around the foundation of my home. Moisture collects up under the home, which in turn creates mold and mildew, which is a health hazard. Each time I hear on the radio that it's going to flood, I'm walking the floor afraid that the bottom section of my home is going to flood. Now, there's a ditch next to me that was created by the city. There was a flooding problem 3 blocks over, and they dug a hole and brought pipes down because there was not a home on the lot next to me. The water was just out there on that lot. That was not a floodplain when we bought out there in the late 60s. Now, I understand that federal funds are available for getting rid of the flooding problem in the area, and I'm asking you as a citizen of Roosevelt City to please, if you can't do it immediately, please have someone to come out and clean that ditch out. Because of the flooding that we've had recently, there's a lot of debris in there. The water cannot flow. Therefore, the water comes back into my home, causing me a problem. So studies have been done, promises have been made, but no action has been taken. And I'm here today to ask you to please, please come out and clean that ditch out so that water can flow. And hopefully by the time you decide what you're going to do to get that water off of me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Minor, and we appreciate you bringing this issue. I know you have talked with the D7 office. We have placed this with the administration, and so we'll continue to advocate, and today we'll be sure to have administration to look at this on Juanita Circle. Thank you. At this time, we'll entertain councilor remarks, and we start with you, Mr. Hoyt.
Oh, bless you.
Are you ready?
Oh, my. Well, I hadn't been first before, so I really appreciate that, and it was quite timely that you would do that. I really wanted to, 2 weeks ago, I served as an analyst for CBS 42, and I was there when I saw the humanistic part of what they do in terms of trying to get a message out to bring this baby back home at Fairfield to his mother. And when I tell you, it was, I'm sitting there observing, and we really don't know, what goes on behind the scenes, but that human part of that, and I saw the look on people's faces and the kind of disposition they had as they were trying to get this message out so we could get this baby back home with his mother or so. And that really pricked my heart. And I just want to say to the executive producer, is Mickey Harris, to the news director, Rob Martin, to Art Franklin, who's an anchor, to Sherry, who's an anchor. I want to say thank you publicly to them, because what I shared with them in an email, that I really thought that their messaging and the quick turnaround because they were the first one to break the story. And to see how that all evolved, it was, I know for us it was seamless, but I saw a lot of people moving, a lot of conversations being had, with people in the field. We need to make sure we get this baby back home, and it took priority. So I know there was an election, but the real winner on Tuesday was this child being reunited with his mother, with their mother. And I just thank God for them, and I just want to say that publicly. That's not slighting anybody else. It just says what I saw, and the sigh of relief when the baby was reunited with the mother. That really pricked my heart, and I just want to say that publicly. Because I appreciate the efforts that they made to do that and to make sure, and it took all of them, but I'm just saying, I just want to make sure that I was able to communicate that, and what a real joy it was to see this baby reunited with the mother, and that's just a blessing. And I want to thank law enforcement and all those other persons, the fire department, and all who helped in that effort, but I just wanted to give prudence to what I saw and what happened that night. So thank you, Madam President. I don't have any other announcements other than it's Miss Kidd's birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. And Madam President, if you don't mind, can we sing happy birthday to Mrs. Kidd?
We will certainly do it. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mrs. Kidd. Happy birthday to you. No, Miss Kidd, she would tell me, take that Mrs. off, Miss.
Miss. All right. Thank you very much. Councilor Smitherman.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I just have a couple announcements. We will not have a Mason City neighborhood meeting. That will be rescheduled. Also, K&S Bank, as I talked about previously, is off of Denison, and they will be having their grand opening reception this Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. They have different events going on this week. Today, they have their open house from 9 to 4 p.m. You can enter to win a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. Those are nice. Tomorrow, they will have a lending fee discount for businesses, and NOLA Ice will be on site from 2 to 4 p.m. And then Thursday, that's the actual day of the reception. They also will have lunch on them provided by a local food truck. And then that Friday, you can enter to win 2 Magic City Classic tickets, and they also have lunch on them as well provided by a local food truck. And the address is 873 Denison Avenue Southwest, Suite 101, and that's over there in the Heritage Shopping Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Abbott.
Thank you, Madam President. The next Budget and Finance meeting will be held on September 13th, 2021 at 3:30 p.m. Submissions are due by September 8th at 12 o'clock. That is tomorrow. There will be no exceptions, and we hope that everyone is able to get their information together so that everything is complete. The only neighborhood meeting we have this evening is Forest Park, South Avondale, and that will be at 6:30 tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Quinn. I'll come back to you. Are you ready, Councilor Hilliard?
Yes.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I almost said Madam President. I got to watch that. All right, listen. District 9 announcements. Westchester neighborhood will meet tonight at 6 o'clock p.m. at Gaines Chapel Church. The Wylam neighborhood meeting will be at 6 o'clock p.m. It will be virtual this afternoon. The Thomas neighborhood meeting will be tonight at 6:30 p.m. at the Mount Hebron Baptist Church. The Hooper City meeting will be Thursday night, September the 9th at 6:00 p.m. to be held at the Hooper City Recreation Center. The Pratt Ansley Implementation Committee planning meeting will be Thursday, 6:00 p.m. at Maco Pine. Please join us tonight for our virtual town hall meeting. It will be this evening at 5 o'clock. It will be live on V94.9 along with Facebook. Our guest will be the Jefferson County Health Department Director, Dr. Mark Wilson. Please join us this evening at 508-924-1349 for an update. It's District 9 time, and before I end that, let me say this. I want to thank all of my colleagues and all of the people out there that can hear my voice for calling over this weekend for a death that we had in my family. I want to say that crime is affecting everybody. We know that. We're not the first, and I'm sure we won't be the last. But one of the things I've talked to the police chief about and all of the media about is doing more programs and things that we can put on the front end rather than the back end to try to curb this crime situation. I know it's a lot going on, and we just got to continue to be prayerful. I want to pray for my family, his children, and all of the rest, and all of the city of Birmingham. I know we're not the only ones. It's a lot that have taken place. So thank you for your prayers, and continue to pray. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Hillian. We certainly pray with your family for comfort and strength, as well as other families that are affected by violence in our city. Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. Public safety will be today at 3:30 in these chambers. Roebuck Springs Neighborhood Association will be meeting Thursday, September the 9th at 7 o'clock. And that is all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Quinn.
All right. Our PIO team is working on queuing up a video for me, but in the meantime, East Lake Neighborhood Association meets tonight at 6 p.m. In person at Household of Faith Church. Smithfield Neighborhood Association meets at 6 p.m. on Thursday at the Smithfield Court Community Room. On Saturday morning from 8 to 10:30, there will be a cleanup in Fountain Heights. There will be meeting at the rec center. All the materials and everything will be supplied. We just need volunteers to show up. Again, that's Fountain Heights, 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Gate City Neighborhood Association meets 11 a.m. on Monday via conference call. If you need that number, please call my office. And then on Monday night at 6 p.m., the Oak Ridge Park Neighborhood Association meets both in person and virtual at New Bethel Baptist Church in Oak Ridge Park. And so if our PIO team is ready, I have a video that I would like to share with you guys. Good morning, District 5. This is Darrell O'Quinn, City Councilor for District 5. This morning we're in Oak Ridge Park doing a neighborhood cleanup, and I wanted to take a moment just to tell you guys a little bit about an issue that we have here that you may not have heard of unless you're a resident in this community. So just behind us, on the other side of the railroad tracks, is the Harris homes, or what most people refer to as the High Chaparral or the Chap. And there's railroad crossings on both sides. So if there's trains that are waiting to get into the yard in Irondale, they may be blocking both of those crossings. So there's a pedestrian tunnel here that goes underneath one of the railroad tracks to allow people to walk in and out. However, as you'll see when you're walking with me, there's stairs here, so it requires that you be an able-bodied person, be able to navigate these stairs. And so, for anybody in a wheelchair or with other mobility issues, this is going to be impossible to navigate. And then we also have seepage here that runs frequently, especially in the wetter weather that we're having. And this stuff has got algae growing on it. It's super slick. anybody hits that the wrong way with their foot, they're going to be on the ground. But so this is something that we hope to make a difference and get corrected. This has been an existing condition for many decades. I'm not sure even when this tunnel was built, but it was a long time ago. But there's always a lot of trash that collects in here, so we came down here this morning, picking up all the trash, cutting back some of the brush that was overhanging from above, and got it done.
And for more from the Birmingham City Council, follow along with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay safe, Birmingham.
Situation, I don't know that there's another situation quite like it in the city of Birmingham, but the public housing community, Harris Homes, is sandwiched between two railroad tracks, and I frequently get calls from residents saying that there's trains sitting on both crossings. So the road out of Harris Homes is blocked. It turns out that the HABD has an agreement with Norfolk Southern that dates back to 1967. So that pedestrian tunnel actually belongs to the Housing Authority, but as you can see, it is nowhere near being ADA compliant. So it's a difficult proposition to say that that tunnel could potentially be upgraded, but this is definitely an issue that is affecting quality of life for the people who live in that community, and I don't think it's too much to say that it is greatly impacted people's lives, the people who live there, not to mention, just daily convenience, and there's a bus route that passes on Brussels, which is the road with the crossing. In any case, I want, you all as a council to be aware of this issue, because it's something that, I am striving to address and make a difference on behalf of the residents that live in Harris Homes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you for bringing this issue to our attention. Thank you. The only announcements I have for District 7, we do have several dates scheduled coming up this week for bulk trash pickup in District 7, and so I'd like to encourage residents, please go to the website and look up those dates. We have one coming up in Roosevelt City on the 9th. And so we've got a lot of trash we need to get bulk trash picked up. So please have your bulk trash set out. I believe that's by 6, Mr. Moore, for bulk trash. If we have bulk trash, we need to have it by 6 in the morning. All right. Thank you all. So if you'll be mindful of those dates, we'd appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Yes, I just wanted to share again. I want to say, share our condolences with our colleague Clinton Woods. And Chris Wood, whom we all know, in the death of his wife and Clinton's mother. And the service is going to be held September the 8th. There's a viewing at Smith and Gaston. At the AKs have a ceremony that they're going to do. That's from 2 to 7. And on September the 9th, from 10 to 12, the viewing of the Church of Highlands. So I guess they're going to do a live stream. And then there is the Free to Fly homecoming celebration service that will be held at Elmwood Cemetery, and that will be at 12 o'clock p.m. But just wanted this family to know that we, share our condolences with them. And, I had an opportunity to meet and even break bread with Mrs. Woods, always very poised and just so inviting. Just had a wonderful disposition, and she fought a good fight. Even in the midst of her struggles,
an author of a book that she wrote. I remember her coming to the council, and I just want to say to Chris Woods how well he took care of his wife. And she was his priority, and I just, I know she's going to be sorely missed because she was just a wonderful person, period, just a wonderful human being. And so I just want to say to this family, we're praying for them and their souls, and that God would cover them in this hour of bereavement for them. So just want to say that also.
Thank you so much, and on behalf of the entire council, we do offer our prayers and condolences to Councilor Woods and his family, and I know we've heard so many great things about his mother. So again, thoughts and prayers are with Chris Woods and the entire Woods family and Councilor Clinton Woods. Before we have for adjournment, that did make me think of, I'm just asking the public, COVID is real. It has not gone away. We need to be just as vigilant about how we want to protect ourselves and our families. I lost a very close friend this weekend, a coworker who had just retired. He never got to really enjoy retirement after working 20, 30 years. And so I just want to offer condolences to his family, and let's just all do everything we can to try to mitigate COVID and do what we can. I'm waiting. I'll be the first one in line when it comes time for that booster. And just encourage everybody. I had one last holdout in my family, and we finally got that member of our family to get vaccinated. So I'm just going to encourage everyone to do their part, whichever you feel is your part to do. Please do your part. Before we allow Councilor Williams to offer a motion, I just want to remind everyone we do have a 911 board meeting, and so Mr. Silas is here. So I will entertain, do we go ahead and we have a motion to...
Correct.
Go ahead.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you all. We appreciate your presence. And now, Mr. Silas, we'll let you take over that 911 meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.